Hey there, HackerFrogs! This is the third Intro to Linux OS Operations workshop. In the previous workshop, we learned about the following Linux commands. The find command is used to search for files on the system. It can be used with many different arguments and flags to refine the search parameters. The grep command searches within the contents of files for specified strings. It is very commonly used to pick out specific words or phrases. The sort command takes all of the lines contained within a given file and returns them in alphabetical/numerical order. The unique command takes all the lines in a file and removes any lines with identical contents to the one above it. This command is very useful for removing consecutive blank lines in a given file. Command piping is the process of passing the output of one command into the input of a second command. The strings command is used to return human-readable text from files. It is often used to find text inside of files that contain both text and binary data. The base64 command encodes/decodes data according to the base64 codec format. It is often used to convert data for transmission across computer networks. TryHackMe is a popular cybersecurity education platform with educational modules called rooms that span a great number of cybersecurity disciplines. In this workshop, we'll be making use of one of TryHackMe's interactive rooms to learn more about using the Linux operating system. But if we want to use the TryHackMe platform, we must first have a valid user account for the website. If needed, sign up for an account at the following URL: https://tryhackme.com/signup. Since the TryHackMe virtual lab machines have a relatively short time limit for free user accounts, we'll do some pre-studying on another web-accessible Linux console first, so we can maximize our time at TryHackMe later. We can access a web-based Linux console for our educational needs at the following URL: https://bellard.org/jslinux/index.html. In our web browser, we navigate to the JS Linux page on the bellard.org website. Select the Fedora 33 OS with the console interface by clicking the startup link here. One thing that's important for learning about new commands is the ability to look up how to use those commands. The --help flag can be used as part of any command to return a relatively brief explanation as to how to use the command. For example, if we use the help flag with the cat command, a short explanation on how to use the cat command is returned, including the command syntax, a summary of what the command does, and all of the available flags and switches associated with the command that provide modified output. A more robust version of the help flag is the man command. The man command brings up the manual document for the command specified in the argument. The documentation is more in-depth than the --help flag. We will use the man command to bring up the manual for the cat command. While using the man command, we cannot input other commands, but we can scroll up and down through the manual using the keyboard up and down keys. And we can quit out of the manual by pressing the Q key. Next, let's learn about the Linux ampersand operator, also called the AND operator. The AND operator is used to execute a command as a background process, which means that the CLI terminal will be free to execute other commands while the process is running. This is useful when running commands that may take a long time to complete, such as running the grep command across the entire file system. If we run the command without the AND operator, our console will be unresponsive until the command completes, which could take a long time. In this case, we can use the Ctrl+C shortcut to cancel the command. We can instead append the AND operator to the end of the command and run it again. we see that we can still run commands on the console while the grep command runs in the background. The next operator we'll learn about is the double ampersand or double AND operator. Notably, the double AND operator doesn't have anything to do with the single AND operator. The double AND operator is used to execute the two commands to the left and right of the operator, one after another. But will only execute the second command if the first command executed successfully. For example, if we give the following command, the pwd command will only execute once the test.txt file has been read using the cat command. But since the test.txt file doesn't exist, the cat command will not complete successfully, and the pwd command will not execute. However, if we create the test.txt file, then attempt the same command again, we see that both commands executed one after the other. We've been using the output redirection operator for a while now, but we'll explain it in further detail now. The greater than operator takes the output of a command and redirects it into a file. If there is already a file with the same name in the directory, it will be overwritten. So here, the output of the echo command will be redirected into a file named test.txt. If we read the file afterwards, we see that it contains the echo command output. The other output redirection operator is the double greater than operator, which works almost identically to the single greater than operator. But if a file with the same name exists in the directory, the output is added to the file instead of overwriting the file. We can see the effects of this if we redirect echo command output using the double greater than operator to the test.txt file. After running the command multiple times, we see that each time it was run, it added the output to the test.txt file instead of overwriting it each time. The next command we'll learn is the Whoami command. The Whoami command is used to return the name of the current user. This is important because most user accounts only have access to certain portions of the file system. The next command, touch, creates empty files. The touch command is used to create empty files with the file name specified in the argument. This command will create an empty file named touch_example. If we check the contents of our directory with ls, we see that the size of the file is 0 bytes, so it is indeed empty. Next, we'll learn how to create new directories in the file system with the mkdir command. The mkdir command is used to create a directory with the directory name specified in the argument. For example, this command will create a directory named testdir. If we check the contents of our directory, we see that the directory was successfully created. Next, we'll learn to copy commands with the cp command. The cp command copies files from one directory to another. The first argument is the file to be copied, and the second argument is the directory the file is to be copied to. In this directory, we have the touch example file. If we wanted to copy that file to the testdir directory, we would use the following command. As we see here, the first argument to the cp command is the file that we wish to copy, and the second argument is the location to which we want the file to be copied. After running the command, we can check the contents of the testdir directory with the ls command. and we see that the touch example file is there. The next command is the mv command, which moves files from one directory to another. The mv command is used in a similar fashion to the cp command, except that the original file will not remain in its original directory. This command is also used for modifying the names of files. We will move the touch example file to the testdir directory. The file already exists in the directory, and this command will overwrite the old touch example file when the new one is moved there. As we can see, the cp command and the mv command use the same syntax. The first argument is the file to be moved, and the second argument is the location to which the file will be moved. Using the ls command to check the contents of the testdir directory, we see that the file was moved. The other common use of the mv command is its ability to rename files. The syntax for that operation is mv, then the name of the file to be renamed, then the new name for the file. The result in this case is that we've used the mv command to rename test.txt to renamed.txt. The last regular command we'll learn about today is the rm command, which is used to delete files and directories. The rm command is used to remove files from the file system. Directories cannot be removed using this command unless the -r switch is used. The command syntax is rm, then the name of the file or directory we wish to delete. This command here will delete the renamed.txt file. We see that the file has been deleted from this directory. We can also delete directories using the rm command, but we'll need to supply the -r switch to do so. If we check, we'll see that we've deleted the testdir directory. Now, we'll very briefly go over Linux file permissions. Each file in the Linux file system has different read, write, and execute permissions, depending on whether a user is 1. The file owner, 2. Part of a certain group, or 3. Any other user. When using the ls-l command, the first name that appears in the list is the user that owns the file, with the following permissions granted, and the second name is the group name, of which all users in that group have the following permissions. The third set of permissions are those given to every other user on the system. Now that we've studied the commands we will encounter in the TryHackMe room, let's access the room at the following URL, https://tryhackme.com/room/Linux Fundamentals Part 2. In our web browser, we navigate to the following URL. If we're not already logged in, we'll be prompted to log in with our username and password. Before doing anything else, we'll need to join the room by clicking on the green Join Room button located here. Under the Task 1 Introduction header, click on the Completed button associated with the Let's Proceed text. Then, under the Task 2 header, click on the green Start Machine button. Then navigate to the top of the web page and click on the blue Start Attack Box button. As we can see, our web browser window has split into two panes. The left-hand pane contains our TryHackMe webpage, and the right-hand pane contains our web-accessible attack box virtual machine. The attack box will take a bit of time to initialize, but while we're waiting, we should take note of the IP address we will be connecting to later. Navigate up to the top of the web page and look at the info under the red Active Machine Information header. An IP address that starts with the numbers 10.10. should appear under the IP address text. Make a note of the IP address, but please be aware that your IP address will most likely be different than the IP address shown in this video. By this time, the attack box should have finished initializing. We know that the attack box has finished initializing when we see its desktop appear and a terminal window pops up. We can click on that terminal window and press the Enter key to close it. We will need to open another terminal window in the attack box in order to connect to our target IP address using SSH. At the top of the attack box desktop, click on the black shortcut icon located between two orange shortcut icons. A terminal window will open. Click on the terminal window and enter the following command: SSH TryHackMe at IP address, where the IP address is the number that started with 10.10. that we noted from the Active Machine Information panel at the top of the TryHackMe webpage. When prompted if we are sure we want to continue connecting, type yes, then press Enter. When prompted for the password, use the password TryHackMe, all lowercase, with no spaces. We will not see the password as we are typing it, and this is normal behavior for Linux. Once logged in, go back to the TryHackMe webpage. At the end of the Task 2 section, click on the white Completed button located next to the I've logged into the Linux Fundamentals Part 2 machine using SSH text. Click on Task 3, Introduction to Flags and Switches. Under the Task 3 questions at the end of the section, click on the white Completed button under the Explore the Manual page of the ls command text. Then, under the next question, click into the field and type the word down as the answer. For the last question, click into the field and type -H as the answer. Then click on the Submit button. Click on Task 4, File System Interaction Continued. In the Task 4 questions at the end of the section, the first question is, how would you create a file named New Note? The answer is touch New Note. Then click the Submit button. The next question requires us to access the unknown1 file on the virtual machine and determine its file type. In the attack box terminal, we can confirm that the file is in the home directory with the ls command. Then we can use the file command to identify the file's type. In the question input field, type in ASCII text, then click on the Submit button. The next question asks us what the command would be to move the myfile file to the myfolder directory. The answer is mv myfile myfolder. The next question asks us for the contents of the myfile file. In the attack box terminal, we can read the file using the cat command. We can copy this flag with the Ctrl-Shift-C keyboard shortcut. But we will have to access the attack box's clipboard from here, and copy the flag again. Then we can paste this into the question field and click on the Submit button. For the last question, we can simply click on the Completed button, then move on to the next task section. Hey there, HackerFrogs! Are you enjoying this workshop? Learning new concepts and skills? If so, there's a way you can support the channel, and it's totally free. Just click on the subscribe button below the video. Also, click on the like button. And if you have questions or comments on this workshop, please leave them below the video. Thanks for listening. And now, back to our scheduled programming. This is task 5, and the new concept introduced here is switching users while logged into a session in Linux. We'll go through the process of switching users while answering the questions, so let's start there. The first question asks us who the owner of the important file is. In the terminal, we use the ls command with the -l switch to return file permissions. And we see that the important file is owned by user2. So we can submit that answer to the question on the web page. The su command is used to switch between active user accounts during a CLI session. When using the su command, the password of the user account being accessed must be entered. The next question asks us which command we would use to switch to the user2. Enter the answer su user2, then click Submit. The next question instructs us to switch to the user2 account on the attack box terminal with the password user2. So we use the command su user2 and supply user2 as the password. Then back on the web page, we click on the Completed button. The last question of the section asks us to read the contents of the important file. So we use the cat command to read the file, then we copy the flag with the Ctrl-Shift-C keyboard shortcut. Open the attack box clipboard, copy the flag again, then paste it into the question field and click Submit. For task 6, let's do a short introduction to some of the common directories on Linux systems. The /etc directory is where system files and user passwords are stored. The /var directory is where log files and database files are stored. The /root directory is the home folder of the root user and is typically the folder with the most secure access. The /tmp directory is used to store files that are only used briefly, because all files here are deleted on a regular basis. The /home directory is where individual user account files are stored. Back on the web page, the first question doesn't require an answer, so we can just click on the button. The next question asks which directory path stores logs, to which we answer /var/log. This question asks which directory works similar to how RAM works on a computer. This may sound confusing, but if we remember that computer RAM is temporary storage of data, then we can arrive at the answer, which is /tmp. This question asks what the home directory of the root user is. The answer is /root. The last question of the section doesn't require an answer, so we just click the button and move on. We're pretty much finished the room. But we have a couple more things to do before we wrap up the workshop. Under the Task 7 header, we need only click on the button to complete the section. And in the last section, we're asked to terminate the active machine from Task 2, which we can do by navigating to the top of the web page and clicking on the red button labeled Terminate. Then we navigate back down to Task 8. Click on the button and finish the room. Let's take a few minutes to review the Linux commands we've covered in this workshop. The Whoami command is used to return the name of the current user. This is important because most user accounts only have access to certain portions of the file system. The -- help flag can be used as part of any command to return a relatively brief explanation as to how to use the command. The man command brings up the manual document for the command specified in the argument. The documentation is more in-depth than the -- help flag. The AND operator is used to execute a command as a background process, which means that the CLI terminal will be free to execute other commands while the process is running. The double AND operator is used to execute the two commands to the left and right of the operator, one after another, but will only execute the second command if the first command executed successfully. The greater than operator takes the output of the command and redirects it into a file. If there is already a file with the same name in the directory, it will be overwritten. The double greater than operator works in a very similar fashion to the greater than operator. But if a file with the same name exists in the directory, the output is added to the file instead of overwriting the file. The touch command is used to create empty files with the file name specified in the argument. The mkdir command is used to create a directory with the directory name specified in the argument. The cp command copies files from one directory to another. The first argument is the file to be copied, and the second argument is the directory the file is to be copied to. The mv command is used in a similar fashion to the cp command, except that the original file will not remain in its original directory. This command is also used for modifying the names of files. The rm command is used to remove files from the file system. Directories cannot be removed using this command unless the -r switch is used. Each file in the Linux file system has different read, write, and execute permissions, depending on whether a user is 1. The file owner, 2. Part of a certain group, or 3. Any other user. The su command is used to switch between active user accounts during a CLI session. When using the su command, the password of the user account being accessed must be supplied. The following are some common directories in the Linux file system. The /etc directory is where system files are stored. The /var directory is where log files and database files are stored. The /root directory is typically the folder with the most secure access. The /tmp directory contains files that are deleted on a regular basis. And the /home directory is where individual user account files are stored. This is the last HackerFrogs AfterSchool Linux OS operations workshop for now. But if we wanted to learn more about working with Linux, we could continue with the Linux Fundamentals series of rooms at TryHackMe. In the next workshop, we'll be starting a new subject, programming. Looking for more study material on this workshop's topics? See this video's description for links to supplemental documents and exercises. Until next time, HackerFrogs!